All right, welcome back. I hope you got some insights from making a business case for AppSec that you can take back to hopefully requesting a bigger budget for the upcoming year. So now before I go on to the next session, I want to talk to you about 𝗣𝗕𝗃𝗃𝗃, a sister community for the Purple Book community. You see, purple, right? So 𝗣𝗕𝗃𝗃𝗃, he's a community, he's a company started by Tanya Janka. She's the CEO and founder of this. It's a Canadian company which is dedicated to providing educational material and platform for AppSec engineers to come learn and to network with the peers in the industry. It also has 𝗣𝗕𝗃𝗃𝗃 podcast, which has a lot of great insights and speakers as part of that show. And they also have a newsletter chock full of information and funny memes. So you should check that out. All right. So now the next session that we have coming up is a talk how to bridge the talent gap using automation by Valmiki Mukherjee and Piyoush Sharma. Valmiki Mukherjee, he's the CEO founder of 𝗖𝗵𝗽𝗍 and also chairman and founder of Cyber Future Foundation, a sister organization that I talked about a little earlier. And he's a co-author of the Purple Book of Software Security and one of the founding members of the Purple Book community here. And the other speaker is Piyoush Sharma. Piyoush Sharma, he's head of infrastructure security, platform, and web at Zuora. And he also is one of the founding members of the Purple Book community and a co-author of the Purple Book of Software Security. So without further ado, let's see what they have to share about how automation can help bridge some of the talent gap that we have in the industry.
Hi, I'm Valmiki Mukherjee, Chairman and Founder of Cyber Future Foundation, and it's an immense pleasure that we, participate in this AppSecCon of 2023, second one in a row, and making sure that this goes to be even bigger than when we started off with. A great gathering of the Purple Book Club community and the AppSec community of the world. So really excited to be here, and as we elevate AppSec to the cyber, as cyber elevates to the business. So really good to be here. Piyoush, I'm sure you're excited and great to have you too.
Thank you, Val. Great to be here. I'm Piyoush Sharma. I'm the head of enterprise security, platform, and web at Zuora. And I'm here to talk to you guys about our talent shortage. This would be our second AppSecCon, and welcome.
Well, great. And let's dive into the topic, right? Piyoush, you and I have spoken about this particular topic about talent shortage as we have to deal with automation. And of course, now with Gen AI, ChatGPT, everything taking over the world. I would love to expand on that topic. And let's also think about how can we balance the increasing need for automation along with the talent that we need to drive that forward. To give you a little of my context, I think, we have been seeing an exceptional growth in the cyber uptake, both in business, growing from IT into business. Last several years, cybersecurity has become a boardroom issue, has continued to become a business issue. And there is more and more demand from the cybersecurity organizations to do the work, right? Which is what ties directly back to what do we do the work for. It's basically applications and apps being the curator of the digital transformation, digital business, and a digitally connected world as the centerpiece. So securing applications, secure cyber and society and businesses in general. And that's the point of view I would start with. As the demands grow, there has to be a supply. And as the supply is kind of prepared for supporting the AppSec needs, we need to have a very thoughtful way of addressing how do we supply the talent, because from all accounts, including multiple research from multiple organizations, there is definitely a huge dearth of talent. We live this as practitioners, so we know, but I think the world has started to realize you cannot have millions of unfilled jobs, and I'm sure hundreds of thousands of AppSec jobs that are out there despite automation that need to be mobilized and fulfilled before we can achieve the level of security and risk management that we need for us to continue to enjoy the digital proofs of the future. Okay. So your thoughts, Piyush, in that particular journey? I know you are deeply embedded into running the program. So what are your thoughts?
Thank you, Val, and great perspective. I really appreciate you talking about that as well. Before I jump into it, I want to also mention AppSec or application security doesn't just mean product code. With everything becoming code, infrastructure as code, security as code, the boundaries of what AppSec protects has extended dramatically, which means now we are looking for talent who understands infrastructure code. With more and more companies going cloud native, that's another area, another demand really that's coming recently. So going back to the talent shortage, we have an existing one. We are adding more to that talent shortage. Where automation comes in is it's designed to help us, right? We have to be mindful of what we can automate, what we can't. My philosophy is automate as much as you can your repeatable tasks, baking in. I do believe with AI, once not just LLMs and Gen AI, but the ML and the machine learning data models that can help us. We need to be more adoptive of these technologies because they can be the force multiplier for us. Yes, Gen AI in particular presents an interesting challenge, but we do have the tools from an automation, from ML, machine learning, existing AI-based capabilities that can help us. Most SaaS companies have their internal data science teams. Talk to your data science teams. Maybe they can help you build the data models that can ease the supply, the demand side for us. That's a bit more, Val. Can you talk to me a bit more around, automation is one part, but we also need to continuously build our talent pipeline as well, all the way from the university up. I know you're heavily involved in that, so please share your.
Absolutely, and I think the more we dig into this, the more we realize that how much of planning and advanced investment is required. I know, just looking at this year, there is a lot of budget cuts across the board, right? And that includes headcount, technology, all of that. But we cannot stop to continue investing in the talent. And this goes all the way back to the schools, high schools, universities, and the ones that we're working with very closely. I think this has to be an ecosystem, collective approach, where senior leaders who run programs, who have visibility to what would be the need for specific areas of talent in the coming months, years, and even decades. Curate that all the way back, because some of the things that even if we had the money, we couldn't do, right? And that's how typical security programs work. There's capacity issue, there's budget issue, and there's talent issue. They all go kind of hand in hand. And we are in this mix of triaging those and identifying which ones we need to address now with the talent and the technology that we have, including automation, and what we can do to advance this for future. And that may be short term in many cases. One of the experiences I will share with you, we built the US Department of Labor's cyber apprenticeship program from CFF during the COVID. During pandemic, we were able to reach out to thousands of people, students and career transitioners who are interested to get into cyber. The barrier to get into cyber is still very high, especially because cyber has to be quite well-rounded in both technology as well as in soft skills and leadership. So I think that investment really counts. I'm actually here at the Harvard Club today with our other Purple Book, community friends at HMG Strategy, and the speakers that we're talking about we're emphasizing the need for investment. There's the organization called Empower, which does this in the nonprofit side. I think there are different forums that you can tap into. Some of these needs to be short term. When I say short term, in a decade is probably 12 to 18 months, where you invest in apprenticeship model to get people trained that can work for you, that works for the budget as well. And some of these are longer term, where you invest time. And I know it's very hard to say that as a practitioner, because we both live that life, right? How much time do you have to actually train and guide others? But I think methodically we can actually address that. And I plan for that myself in my calendar, and make sure that I have mentoring times as well as times for my mentees. And that collective effort definitely plays into the long-standing needs that we have and supports us. And then I'm very optimistic. You know, if you're not optimistic, cannot be in cyber. So I'm very optimistic that as the as the uptake of cyber happens in general society and business, there'll be more and more people who are interested, and we have to curve the path out for them, and the pathways are very important. So that's my kind of short take on what we could do to address this generational challenge and the demand in the business that is short term.
Thank you, Val. What I would add, my 2 cents in this case, is we all grapple with budget constraints, right? One of the key challenges we have is we have only so much budget to assign, and the question becomes: do we hire experienced folks, or do we invest in these types of internship programs? What I would say is it takes little to build these internship capabilities. There needs to be a well thought out program where not every time you would convert an intern into a full-time. It's perfectly acceptable to communicate this program where you're doing the apprentice, you're helping folks break into the industry, but you're also letting them know that this is only an internship, this is only an apprenticeship. There may not be an opportunity to continue into a full-time role, but it gets them into the space, right? And then organizations like CFF, Cyber Future Foundation, and Purple Book communities are here to help take it to the next level, where you now have the foundational knowledge to take you to the next step. But I'll also pivot a little bit more onto the technology side. We talked about the people for a bit. If you're talking about automation, if you're talking about bridging the talent gap, the key challenge has been you need to hire people who are adept at coding, who understand programming as a whole. And that's something that all security professionals, leaders, and otherwise tend to have. But the recent advent in vendor technologies has been on the low-code, no-code side, which I believe to be a great partnership area that we need to explore more. We no longer require our teams to have the in and outs of coding, especially if we can go down this low-code, no-code recipe-based approach. Some of that also includes, I'll go back to my comment earlier about machine learning capabilities, where these low-code, no-code platforms can help you bake in more machine learning data models that learn from the information that we are ingesting into these areas, and then they continuously improve themselves. So it's not a static model, it's a learning adaptive platform that can really help build on the initial automation that we generate. And it becomes a force multiplier again. You still need the higher end resource. You also need the entry-level resource to help get them to the next level. But the mid-tier where we all struggle can be this AI or ML-based automation platform that does the bulk of the work.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, that's a great topic to dig into, because what do we train our, incoming generation of cyber talent will be very important. What we train now will be the ones that they will be serving us, right, on in our teams, future leadership. I think we cannot ignore the scaling up effect of technology and automation. And those who harness that power are the ones that are going to be taking the lead. And I believe the younger generation, especially when we're talking about talent gap, we're talking about the generational talent coming into cybersecurity. They are way more savvy with technology than probably, we are. And we have had the same thing from our parents and our other generations. So we're, I chuckle here because I think, every generation goes to that. And fortunately, we have the gift of technology with us. And where I believe we need to invest is not only mentoring and guiding, but also, getting the right tools and vetted tools in front of them, because otherwise they're very confused. When I have hired hundreds of young people into my teams for training them and letting them loose, in professional services environments. I think where the struggle is when there is no clear direction and guidance, especially what they're going to do, how they're going to do their job. It's not only persuading them to join the cyber, but also I think our challenge is keeping them in cyber, because it's daunting, right? Especially if you think about the rate of attrition for leadership, forget about mid-tier, there is a huge attrition in this space. How can we make it easy for younger generation and those that are transitioning into cyber? Very clear pathways, and I think that would make it good for us in the short term as well as long term. So I completely agree with you, Piyush, in terms of harnessing automation as the bridge between the two, as we bring in new entrants into this talent pool, and also effectively use them while recognizing the fact that we really don't have a mid layer. The gap in talent in the entry level is high, and in the mid layer it's pretty much non-existent, right? So taking advantage of the technologies at hand, especially with Gen AI and all, with a little bit of course, security guardrails, responsibility guardrails, which we'll delve into next week before AppSecCon. We have the CFF Town Hall on generative AI on 21st of June. I would love for people to come in and join, our practitioners and leaders to contribute to that. So I think it's important to harness that power of automation, which I believe will scale this industry up in a faster way.
It is, and just to quickly summarize what we have talked through, automate where we can, but keeping in mind that automation is a system. It's not just, don't think of it as just a tool. You also need to address some people areas, but process is just as important. You can only automate something that's in a state of stability. If you try and automate garbage, it's garbage in, garbage out. So it's important to have clean processes, clean capabilities around what you're trying to automate. Unless and until you have that level of maturity, trying to automate things that you don't understand becomes more daunting and more challenging. And it's not the end all be all. There are different ways how you can drive automation. You have the traditional automation, traditional tool systems that rely on programming, understanding code. More recently, the next generation platforms are low code, no code, recipe based, data model based, right? That's the next generation that we're moving into, where everything is tied to machine learning. You build a data model, you build something that can continuously improve and learn based on the data that's being sent into it. But most importantly, we need, as a community, continue to develop the talent. The shortage will never end, but if we don't continue building the pipeline, the shortage will only get worse. And soon we won't have the leadership we need. That's the other challenge we are seeing. As the cybersecurity as a domain, as a function is getting elevated, we're not seeing the leadership being generated that can operate at those levels. And for that, we continuously need to level up our resources, our folks, our community.
Absolutely. Well said, Piyush. And as a leader in practice, I believe, you go through this every day, taking active steps every day that you take and other leaders take are really inspiring. And I think that's something that those are the takeaways that the younger generation, especially those trying to get into AppSec, can take. Taking a proactive stance in understanding the industry, understanding the profession, understanding specific function and domain, and how it relates to overall cybersecurity is absolutely essential. So I would love for everyone to come in and join us on AppSecCon 2023 and make it the best one ever. It's June 28th to 29th, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Pacific time. Go register at thepurplebook.club /AppSecCon. 2023, or reach out to either of us. We'll look forward to have more and more participants in this. And I'm sure you are seeding the next generation of talent in application security and cybersecurity in general. So thank you for giving us the opportunity to share our point of view.
Thank you, Val. And as Val said, yes, please join us at AppSecCon 2023. It's our only second AppSecCon, but it promises to have a lot of wealth of knowledge and data and insights from a multitude of leaders with a varying degree of experience, with decades, if not centuries of experience in this space. And we are happy to share our knowledge, as well as join your other peers in this event. It's virtual. You can sign up at thepurplebook.club, or you can reach out to us on LinkedIn at the Purple Book community. And we look forward to seeing you there. I would want to see if anybody has any questions. So we do want to give some time for folks who are here and see if there are any questions. We would be more than happy to answer them as well. Thank you.